Hello and welcome to Chapter 4. In today's episode, we're going to glue in the transom. We need to start doing some of these pieces in the rear here because they're all starting to overlap. I'm really looking forward to having the floor done, but I really can't do the rest of the floor until I have the transom in. So we're able to tie in the stringers to the transom so that then we can have all that ready to be primed and coated, so then that the floor can go down. So we're going to sand this again to prep it because I painted on some of the epoxy for whatever reason. Just felt like doing it. I think I got ahead of myself and I was thinking I was about to slap it in, then I didn't, and it cured. So we already washed this surface with soap and water. Now we're going to sand it back down good. We're going to take a look at our cap and see how much overlap that we have. Because we can't fully glass this in because because with the thickness of the Coosa, we're going to have the Coosa itself mate up next to the fiberglass that's on the splash well part of the cap. And then we'll glass from the transom to the underside of the splash well. And I don't think we can glass around these just yet either because they're going to need to glass down to the floor. So right now we're going to focus on the transom, and we're going to see, once it's in, we're going to see what it looks like as far as glassing the stringers to the transom and what all pieces we can get done that aren't going to overlap. We might even do the hook points back here, these new sections of Coosa, and get those glassed in because that'll be something that we will certainly have to do before the cap goes on. And there's nothing else in our way that I can see on that, so we can glass up and all around all this stuff. So it looks like a pretty exciting time. We sure are glad you're along with us. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. You can be ready and tuned in to see our future content as it comes out. That helps our channel grow a lot. We really appreciate that. If you like our content, please click the like button. If you want your friends to see it, feel free to share. And here we go. Thanks for following along. We've been doing a lot of prepping. We're going to continue to prep. I think our plan is to finish prepping around our transom knees here and our eyelet point pieces here. We're going to sand around here and through here and all of this region. Because here's the plan. Here's how I want to stack these pieces together. I'm going to get those sanded and ready and get all that stuff clean, and then we're going to glue in the transom with our epoxy resin, and then we're going to epoxy resin the two pieces of Coosa together in here, but leave the outside of this dry without resin yet because we're not going to want to have to sand it before we put fiberglass over the top of it. So we're going to leave it dry on the outside, but glue it to this and glue the first piece to the second piece and get this ready to where we can then glass the lower portion to the stringers and glass up over these and over here before we do the rear floor. So we can have all of this glassed and be ready for the floor to be coated on the bottom and then set down and then glass over the top of that. Our floor piece fits in here pretty nice the way it is now, so there might be a little bit of finish trimming before it really fits the way it needs to, but it's Coosa, it trims. So that's not a big deal. Kind of the same story in these edges right here. If these edges don't all line up, if fiberglass has gotten too thick, this way we can just trim it back to get our floor piece to fit and then go back on installing. So I hope you like sanding if you're going to take on a project like this, because that's pretty much all you're going to be doing. I've been really dreading working on this, which I hate, just because I know I'm going to get super filthy and itchy, and the itchiness doesn't bother me near as bad as it did the first few boats I did, but it's just part of the game. I'm going to have to remind myself what it feels like to sit in this boat and enjoy it while I'm sanding on it, because there's going to be a lot of sanding, a lot more sanding. We've already sanded a lot. So I'm going to put you back on time lapse, and I'm going to get back to some more sanding, and then we'll get this cleaned up, and then we'll lay some glass. I'm going to try to speak up, because I'm not wearing my mic. It's just too much to mess with when you're also mixing the resin and just all the other fun stuff. So now we're just going to paint this resin on here. The more I've used this epoxy resin, the more I just want to call it glue. It just behaves like glue, which it is epoxy, which you kind of think by nature that's exactly what it is. So maybe you'll get this audio, or maybe it'll look like a foreign film where I'm just sort of lips are moving, no words, with voiceover. I did 10 pumps of resin and 10 pumps of hardener. We'll see if that's way too much, not enough. I think it's going to be enough. I don't think we're going to be shy any. The fly, he might land in this, get to enjoy it. I am really itchy though from my little bit of sanding. All over there. Cup O thinner. paint it on here. These other things here out of the way, just a little bit. Now we're going to turn it around. Knock that over. Get more on the bottom of it. Just lather it all on there, nice and thick like. Get some on the ends without getting it everywhere else, if at all possible. Okay. Now we're going to put glue on this side, or epoxy. I've been putting this step off for a while now. I've just been kind of afraid of it. You really just can't do that. I guess you can a little bit to make sure you don't do something wrong, but you gotta also get to it at some point. I might be mixing up more resin here in just a second. I am excited about having a Coosa Transom. Been excited about this for a while now. Now I'm going to mix more up. I'm going to have enough here. So we're going to mix up some more. Mix this up real good. I haven't shared this with y'all so far. Supposed to mix it for 2 to 3 minutes. Probably speed after this process or something. Yeah, we're working on in the sun. Okay, mixy mixy. and thick like. Probably mixed up too much. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a lot in there. Put this on the shady side, make it last a little bit longer. And the shady beach. And you carefully take your gloves off so you can put fresh ones on. You can do some more hammering and tweaking here. Let's not do that with that sitting there. Move that over there. Okay, those are down in there. That's what we like. Now time to put some clamps on it. Coming back with more. And this is why I didn't epoxy the outside. One of the reasons why I didn't epoxy the outside. I knew I'd be clamping on it. Well, look at that. Okay, cool. What's this epoxy doing? You could probably go ahead and epoxy these in. I think we're going to. Tip of the day, don't wear shoes you like. So you'll get it on there. I'm wearing some old boots that I've ruined time and time again. good work boots, but they've had resin on them before. Hang it over your workspace, so then if it drips onto your already epoxied workspace. Okay, cool. Find a big old clamp for those. This back in the shade. Somewhere. Oh, right there. We just wrestle these together, have them all glassed in, kind of get a perspective of where we are. Here's the other one, right there. There's our transom. I'm going to show you what my plan is, and we'll see if we can make this, we'll see if we can execute this properly and make it all work together good. Now that we have you all settled in and comfortable, here's my plan. I'm going to wrap some 1708 around here, like that. I'm going to do one layer like that. This dotted line represents how far down the cap hangs. This is 7 inches from the top. I think it hangs down 6.5-ish, so it should hang down to about right there. So we'll be sure not to overlap where it overlaps. So, we're going to put some 1708 down. We're going to encapsulate these. And then we're going to run some 1708 from back here, up around, and over this way. And probably try to cover, well, at least cover this one stringer, because we'll have to. I might try to make it long enough where we can cover this one too. Because once you lay it down, say down in here, if we let it set, we'd have to go back and prep this finished surface again so that we can wrap this one. So I'm going to see, because I've already re-prepped in here where I've glassed, I'm going to try to see if we can wrap all the way. It'd be kind of a long piece. And then probably go back with a second layer and go back over. And then come back over from the outside and go back in. And then we should have all this tied up to where these, we can kind of use some smaller pieces to glass each stringer to the new transom. Hopefully before those layers that cure up and lose their tackiness. And then we can tackle the rest of the stringers. And then we can tackle our cardboard piece as a template, and then cut out our floor pieces and get all this stuff all mocked up and ready, so that then we can paint all the below the floor surfaces without forgetting to cut drain holes in these stringers, because right now our drain hole is in between this in this channel out the back, and if water is to get on this side of this center stringer, it has no way to get out. So we're going to make sure that all of this stuff is basically designed to be a below the floor water catch tank. It's going to get water in it and it's going to come out. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you might be thinking. And this is what I'm thinking too, is, well, if it's all encapsulated in and glassed in so well, how's water going to get in over here? I mean, probably from things not being properly sealed. So I'm going to go ahead and just bet on them not being properly sealed. We can let water get in, let them get out, because all of our pieces will be attached enough to be structurally solid, even if they are to someday get a little bit of water in. And that might even just be water that seeps around the back side of one of these, like around the center stringer or something. So, I don't know. But I want to make it to where, anyway, the entire subfloor can catch and drain water. And I've been putting this project off because I just have grown to not really enjoy doing fiberglass work, but this is the name of the game. This is part of it. To remind myself that I love this old boat and I want it done. I have some exciting plans for once the actual boat part is done, and I want to get to that. So I'm going to put you back on time lapse, and we're going to get this rocking and rolling. So stay tuned. Here we go.